Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. For 3 seasons, Elizabeth Hurley, William Moseley, and Alexandra Park have sizzled on screen with lots of sexy backstabbing on Ease the Royals. But this season, viewers are in for probably more sexy backstabbing. Let's take a look at the trailer for Season 4 of Ease the Royals.
Do you know what the most disappointing thing about being king is? You can't trust anyone. They all want what I have, and they'll stop at nothing to take it from me.
I'll kill him before I let him deceive everyone.
He's your brother.
No, he's an arsehole.
We're family, for better or worse.
Those things are dangerous.
The king has a secret.
He's tyrant in the making, and it's only gonna get worse.
Rule bloody Britannia. I'll make some trouble of my own.
The country needs one voice. Mine.
Someone kill this arrogant son of a bitch before he tries to take over the world.
Can't trust anyone around here.
It makes me happy when I think about how far you're about to fall.
So what's going on with you?
Everybody, please welcome your favorite royal family, Queen Helena, Princess Eleanor, and Prince Liam.
Hello, hello, hello.
Thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on Season 4.
Thank
you.
you.
Very much.
Never know who to speak.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of ground to cover, a lot of plot, a lot of twists going into this season. But I'm curious, how much fun is it for you guys to do this show? It is a soap opera with a sense of humor, and it must be so much fun to get to chew on these juicy, sometimes campy, sometimes really dramatic lines.
It's true. When we first got the pilot, we weren't quite sure what genre it was.
Yeah.
Because it is campy drama, or it's got comedy, it's got everything in it. So, but really, I think in this season, we really follow the drama a lot with some really good little segues off into, in my case, I get quite a lot of quite silly comedy to do in this season. Will gets a lot of high drama, and then we get angst and emotion from the beautiful princess.
Yeah. What was it like for you to do some comedy like this?
Well, I think it was good fun, because I think for the first few seasons, Queen Helena, my character, you know, she's so manipulative and so controlling, and I did quite a lot of quite bad things. But I'm a bit left out in this season because my eldest son has become the new King of England, which means that from being Queen of England, my character is now the Queen Mother, which is an awful lot less glamorous. And she minds. She minds quite a lot, so she looks for mischief. So at one stage, we see her going through her daughter's nightstand trying to find drugs. There aren't any, because she's cleaned her act up, and her mother's really cross because she's looking for that. And then she starts to go through her little black book to see if she can find some old friends that she was friends with in the past, because she's bored. She wanted to meddle with the country, and King Robert won't let her. That all changes, and it gets a little more dramatic as it goes on. But for the first few episodes, Queen Helena gets to have some fun.
And as you said, Prince Liam has some pretty high drama in this season. There's a fair amount of jealousy and anger.
That's right. Well, as you probably know, I don't know if you guys know, but at the end of Season 3, Robert became the king. And obviously, Liam didn't want that to happen. And Liam now doesn't have any allies left. He's sort of exhausted all of his resources, but one. And that one being Cyrus. So he kind of has to become a little bit darker. He has to fight fire with fire. And it does definitely question his moral compass in that sense. But Cyrus is quite fun. So I enjoyed I enjoyed some of those scenes.
Yeah, I imagine those scenes are incredibly fun to play.
They were great. You know, I got to dress up in a big fur coat. I got to kind of pimp out. I got to look like I was, you know, really kind of like a gangster, which is obviously, of course, me. So that was really, really fun. And then there were obviously some very emotional scenes, which were great to play as well. Some very heavy scenes, and you know, I think that's what's fun about our show. We have a balance of drama, and we have a balance of fun and mischief.
I will say, from what I've seen of this season, Eleanor is pretty dramatic as well. She's got a pretty intense love story going on. Can I say that? That's not too much of a spoiler, is it?
No, I mean, no, it's not. She does. I mean,
there's going to be a love story no matter what in this show.
Yes, exactly. And there's always going to be something going on with Eleanor's love life. Obviously with Jasper floating around as usual. But I think mostly Eleanor is she's almost had a switch in Season 4 where she's trying to I don't know, behave better and sort of, you know, figure out who she is and what her purpose is and kind of give back and take a leaf out of her brother's books and you know, stop being so lost and start thinking about what she can do. So she carries on doing her interior design journey and leaves the country for a bit to go and sort of figure out who she is and travel and see the world.
She went on a very exotic holiday, which you got to go on.
I got to go to the Amalfi Coast,
which we were all very jealous of.
Which was just, I mean, come on. We were working there. It was absolutely.
I wasn't working there.
I was there. I was working there, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And
how much time did you get to spend there? And how much time was work, and how much time did you get to actually walk around and enjoy the Amalfi Coast?
Well, I mean, the work was kind of just enjoying it as well because we did the, you know, all the dialogue.
We really
slaved
slaved for our money.
You didn't have a single line to learn, did you?
No, well, we were there. There you go. Okay. So I just kind of, you know, wandered around these amazing little like alleys in the back, you know, of the Amalfi and upstairs and out on piers, and just sort of looked like I was lost and bewildered. And
it was literally like
very hard.
Get to go to the Amalfi Coast for a week of like second unit photography of
That's
like
it.
2 days.
Exactly. And you know, we were staying in the most
amazing.
incredible, you know, hotels that I've ever seen in my life. And we were going to shoot in one of the rooms, but they found somewhere else to shoot, so I ended up staying in one of those rooms for a night, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's just incredible.
Poor you.
I think overall, the show we were out a lot more this year, so we you know, less time in the studio and more amazing locations. And I mean,
Speak for yourself.
Oh, except for Elizabeth.
I never leave the palace.
Yeah, Elizabeth stays in the palace.
Now, the show, you know, it's based. The source material is a book that came out a number of years ago. I'd imagine after the first couple seasons, you're really going off of the source material there. And oftentimes writers sort of tend to work with their actors' strengths or sort of ask their actors. So going into season 4, you know, do you talk to the writers at all about what you'd like to do with your character? Do they pitch stuff to you, or?
I wish I could say they did. They don't really take any notice of us at all. I mean, you know, writers have actors pitching their ideas all the time at them, which is normally very exciting storylines for themselves, regardless of what's going on for the rest. So I have to say, not really. But what I did notice going into season 4 of this, because none of us have ever been on a TV series before. This was our first. So it's the first time we'd ever got the chance to revisit characters we'd said goodbye to. You know, in a movie, you're 3 or 4 months very intense, then you never see it ever again. It's gone. So for us to come back to revisit what we started and add more to was a very special thing for us. And what I did notice with the writers is that once they could hear our voices, and they'd know our strengths and weaknesses too, obviously, you could really see how they could hear our voices and our nuances of our voices in their pens as they were writing, and you could really see that. Especially with someone like William, I could really see that, because basically William and his character Prince Liam have merged and become one. It's the weirdest thing.
It's weird.
They started off as quite different people, and now they're indistinguishable, aren't they?
I really, I'm.
You seem so nice and easygoing.
Well, I don't know if I
No, he has a really violent side, I have to say.
He can be very intense.
I do a very intense side, but I think I was very into sports at school, and I was always like a fighter on the rugby field. I was always a fighter in my soccer games, always a fighter when I was cross-country running. And I sort of channeled all of that into this character, that very kind of driven side of myself. And I think they saw shadows of it in season 1 and 2, and then season 4, they really went for it.
Are you the guy that like yells at teammates in like a pickup basketball
I'm really
game
awkward
kind of
like
thing?
that, actually.
Come on, get it together.
Yeah, I was really awkward. When I play like pickup games, I get really into it.
Do not invite him back.
Don't invite me. That's why when I have kids, I know it's gonna be really bad, because I'll be going to their sports games and I'll be screaming at these 5-year-olds, you know, like telling them to run faster.
You're gonna be the guy that gets into a fight with the referee.
Exactly, all the other parents of the other kids.
Right. What about you and your character? Did it feel like they were writing to your strengths, or sort of coming up with new things that felt like were based off of what they saw you do well, or you wanted challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think overall, over the past 4 seasons, there's never been a dull moment. There's never been a moment where I've felt unchallenged or bored or anything like that. I feel like every storyline that Eleanor's gone down has been a different one, and it's been, you know, different than the last, and it's either been fun, or it's been, you know, scary, or, you know, I think that's why we're so lucky. We've got these characters that are written with such care. And yeah, we're constantly challenged, or, you know, having a great time with bits of comedy here and there, and there's just never a dull moment.
What's been the toughest part about doing the show? or the toughest challenge you've had for your character?
The toughest thing, I think, was just kind of figuring out the emotional side of Eleanor, I think. I think she's like a pretty deeply complicated girl, and she's got a huge heart, and I don't know, bringing myself into her and meshing the two, I think in the beginning was pretty difficult. And obviously, you know, this was my first big job, you know, working with these guys, and it was very intimidating for me coming on board with such an enormous scale of this production and these actors, and that was really difficult for me in the beginning. But I've had such amazing support, and you know, the opportunity to do 4 seasons, that it's become a challenge that I've really enjoyed.
Getting yelled at by William in between takes.
Oh yeah.
I try not to yell at Alex. Shit, I love her too much.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Elizabeth, you're obviously here promoting the Royals, but you have a film coming out soon as well. That's coming out, I believe, on National Elephant Day. Is that?
It is.
Is that
April 16th is World Elephant Day.
Thank you.
And
World Elephant Day.
I made a really little movie last year in Africa, and I made it because I'm part of a group called Space for Giants, who are fighting really hard to do their bit to stop elephants becoming extinct. And so when I was offered this movie, which is a family movie for kids, I really wanted to do it. So I squeezed it in just before we shot this season. And now it's coming out on World Elephant Day. And it's quite amazing because, you know, still in Africa, every year 30,000 elephants are slaughtered for their ivory. And we really realized that yes, of course, poaching is horrific, and poachers need to be caught. They are caught sometimes, but still 30,000 beautiful elephants are slaughtered. And we realized that what we really wanted to try and do is to really reach kids and educate them to really understand what it means if somebody comes back with a piece of ivory from a trip, to really understand what that means, because what it really means is that our descendants will never see elephants because they will be extinct. So we've got this gorgeous little film about an American boy who's orphaned and gets sent to Africa to live with his aunt, me, and we take him out into the bush to show him the beautiful wildlife, and he gets lost, and it's for kids, and he makes friends with a giant African elephant who becomes his best friend and looks after him in the wild, and between them they beat a poaching gang and bring them down, and they all get caught. And we learn a lot about what the poachers were going to do, the elephants they were about to slaughter. And it's a really charming little film. And to our surprise, people have really liked it. It's going to be on 700 screens, coming out on World Elephant Day. And it's just a great movie for kids and families to see, I think.
That's fantastic.
I'm really proud of it.
Congratulations. You're doing great work by making the film and putting it out there as well. When it comes to this show, I'm curious, I'm sure you get asked this every season you do press for the show, but the actual royal family, have they seen the show? Do they talk about the show? Do you know?
We like to think that it's their favourite show.
Yes, we often have conversations about where they watch it and on what day.
Yeah, how they fight for the remote.
Yes.
We have absolutely no idea, but how could they resist watching it? They know it's fiction, but they know it's sort of a little bit of their lives, so I'm sure they like it.
I hope they watch it. I think...
we were them, we'd watch it.
Yeah, you know, I think if I was royal, I'd watch every show. There's obviously The Crown is much more... it's very different to our show, but I think our show's a bit more fun than the Crown, and I'm sure they maybe watch ours with a glass of wine or, you know, a beer or something like that.
Elizabeth, I'm curious, you know, you were in one of the greatest comedies, I think, ever made, Austin Powers. One of the greatest comedies that also bore some of the longest lasting catchphrases, I think, of all time, for better or worse, depending on what year it was you were hearing them. What was that like for a lot of us that got frustrating in like 2005 when people were still saying them, but what was it like for you?
Well, my favorite one was people used to come up to me in the street and shout in America, "Do you want to shag now or later, baby?" Not knowing,
sucks.
yeah, but not knowing that shag in England is rude. It's a 4-letter word, meaning the most famous 4-letter word here. But nobody understood what it meant.
Are you sure they didn't know?
No, I think it's just like, you know, do you want to have some fun, baby, now or later? So all these people would be bellowing this out. We'd be like, God, what are you saying? So we like that. But, I mean, still today, people ask me if I want to shag. We're like, what?
Have you ever called Mike Myers after someone doing that and be like, you really messed this up for me?
I know. Well, he brought words into the American language, which I think were needed, because they're funny. All of them are funny. but nobody knew what it meant. It's true.
Let's get some questions from our audience. Who has a question out here? Right here.
Hi. Thank you all for coming. I'm a huge fan of this show. My question is, if you could be on any TV show right now, besides the Royals, what would it be? Reality or fiction? Yeah.
Outlander.
Schitt's Creek.
Luke Cage.
Three very distinct answers, very quick. That was great. Next question.
Hi, my question is, what's been your favorite scene that you filmed on the Royals?
Well, I've got some really funny scenes coming up, and I have one particular one with Joan Collins, which involves a maid's uniform and some handcuffs, and that goes down as one of my favorites.
One of my, I don't want to give it. Yeah, actually, yeah, no, it would have to be. I mean, there are just so many delicious scenes. Yeah, I'd have to say that the Christmas episode from last season was my favorite. Doing the musical number was my moment, you know? How could that not be my favorite?
I did sort of a Fight Club-esque scene at the beginning of season 3, which was quite fun. That was cool.
One more question. Who do we have? Right? Oh, you were right there, sir.
Hey, I'm a big fan of the show. I actually have some artwork to give you guys later. My question is for Alex, and if Eleanor were in charge, how would she rule?
Well, if Eleanor were in charge, I actually, I don't even, I think,
She'd be too soft.
Every day would be a party.
Every day would be a party. No, I don't know, because I don't want to give too much away, because I feel like she would kind of right a few wrongs in her own Eleanor-y way. But things would be more relaxed, you know. She'd be firm, but things would be...
The monarchy would collapse.
Monarchy might collapse, but, you know, there'd be love there, and it'd be fun.
It would be fun. It would be great.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be more like a family, I guess. We'd just get the baddies out, and you'll see. You'll see.
It would just be you and me.
Just you.
Guys, congratulations on season 4 of the show. It premieres this Sunday at 10 o'clock. And congratulations on dealing with William's intensity all the time, because it sounds like he really berates you. And
Really intense. You need to calm down, Will.
I'm trying to calm down. I'm so intense right now,
All that tea you drink.
It is a lot of tea.
everybody give it up for the Royals. Let's hear it.
Thank you so much for coming.